Hello, Dills here. Before we start today's episode, I want to talk about a cool event we've got coming up in September. It's the weekend of September 19th, and it is a raids-focused event. The event is officially called Raids Fest 2025. There's going to be 3 different teams, and we're all going to be competing on who can do the most and the best raids. It's just a competition where 3 teams are trying to complete as many raids as possible. But not only that, there'll be a bunch of like tasks to go along with it. So think of your combat tasks. We came up with a list of our own that will be applied for the raid, so you can do that for extra points. It's a 10 mil buy-in, and you do need to have 10 KC in each of the raids. But if you like that sort of stuff, we have a link in the description. You can sign up, and yeah, it should be a really fun time. So if you've got any questions, feel free to ask, but be quick because the time is fast approaching. Weekend of September 19th. 10 mil buy-in, 10 KC across all the raids. So yeah. All right, let's go. Episode time. Welcome to episode 266. I'm your host, Dills, and joined with me as always, Trey. How are you?
Hello. Doing good.
Awesome. So we've been on this Smasher Pass journey for a bit now. Last episode, we wrapped up with the Theater of Blood, and we'll be continuing today with the Alchemical Hydra. We feel like we start every episode with a Slayer boss, but they just like to dribble those in there. Very fun stuff. Trey, we hopped on our call, ready to discuss, ready to do a podcast together, and you just you were heated. What's got you all hot and bothered?
Yeah, you know me, it's just screaming all the time. No, so I've been learning the new Doom of Makwa-Yodel. I've been learning Mocha on my iron. And no, it's a great boss. I've been really enjoying it. I'm only up to Delve 5, but I really like that, it's not like, like something like Inferno, your PBs, it's like I got to this wave and died, right? And, you don't really feel good about it, even if it is a PB. It's kind of a consolation prize. But the cool thing about the Delve is every wave you get past, there's a loot roll. So you have a chance for unique, or you get some loot from it if you decide to leave. So I feel like there is these intermittent dopamine spikes. So the going in and going as far as you can and dying doesn't feel quite as bad. So yeah, I've been really enjoying learning that boss. But my quote unquote rant, it's just something that's always
before we get into your
me.
rant, maybe because we haven't really had a quick chance to talk about the Doom of Makwa-Yodel. So it's this new boss with this delve system you're talking about. It came out with Varlamore Part 3, and of course we're going to be getting there eventually. But it's this like new, really hard boss, and we did talk about it a bit with Addy. Not with Addy, but you and I talked about it on the bonus episode with Addy, if I'm remembering correctly. Because there was this, it was people found it really difficult. But the way the delve works is every time you kill it, you have the choice of taking the loot and leaving like you would with any boss, or fighting it again and not collecting your loot. But it gets harder every time, and it becomes like a different fight. Like there's new mechanics that get added, and it gets really tough, and it goes all the way up to delve level 8. One thing I wanted to quickly mention, it's like Jagex has been playing with this loot system, I think, for a bit. We had the Coliseum, which works a little bit like this. The only difference is it tells you what loot you will get if you can complete this fight. Whereas with Doom, it only tells you what you'll get if you forfeit the next fight. So a little bit different, but it comes from RuneScape 3. We've been asking for this for a while, this Enraged. I'm trying to remember what they called it, but RuneScape 3 had this for a long time, where you can just keep fighting the boss and it keeps getting harder and the loot keeps increasing. And it's a whole thing over there of how long you can fight these bosses, not how quick, but how long you can stay in there. And you see things of like Enraged level 2000%. I don't really know what that means, but it's a big number, so that's crazy. So anyways, that's I just wanted to throw that in there because the Delve boss is a little bit different than all the other bosses in old school RuneScape. Sorry, and now it's time. Now you can get it all off your chest. What's been going on?
No, and they're saying we've already hit the like soft cap for Delve because somebody did a full 6 hour, and so that is this. It's crazy that the 6 hour logout timer is what's preventing people from going further.
Now it's how many kills can you get in 6 hours?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, so they'll just have to be faster about it. But anyways, no. So this is something that's always bothered me. I think it's more of a gamer community thing than it is a RuneScape thing. But I see it all the time in RuneScape. So I watched this guide for the Doom, and he started off with this kind of speech about how, it's kind of like what people say with Inferno, it's like, this is very difficult, but you just have to persevere and be patient and stuff. And I was like all on board with that. And then he says, okay, so wave 1 through, delve 1 through 7 is brain dead. And then it starts to get hard at delve 8. And I was like, I came to this guide at a point where I couldn't even get to 4. And I was just completely like,
I got to cut you off one more time. Okay. So you're getting heated. I had this idea a long time ago that whenever we get heated, I could play some music just to like counter the vibes a little bit. We go for good vibes here, but sometimes we like to complain. Very rarely, but sometimes we do. But I thought it might be good for the audience if they could have something a little bit more tranquil in the background. So it's a RuneScape song, if that helps. It's an ad. Does this help? Okay, sorry, continue your rant.
Okay, so I found it to be, I see it a lot where people like in the clan will ask about doing content and they'll say, I'm struggling with this content. And then somebody will say, oh, well, that's easy. That's free. Free is a word that word is very like triggering to me.
Nothing in life is free.
Free and brain dead are the two words that I see people describing content as. I've seen people call 400 Invo TOA free. And it's I get what they're saying, that like it's like you can do it, but when you tell somebody who's really struggling with something that it's free, that's like, I feel like the most condescending, insulting thing to say to somebody. And I'd see it all over the place, but that Doom guide that was like, all right, so wave 1 through 7 is free, and then delve 8 is where it starts to get difficult. And it's like, that is just so demotivating to someone who's struggling with wave 4. So yeah, that's just I just hate those words when you're talking about something that somebody is struggling with, and you tell them it's brain dead. So then you're telling them you're worse than brain dead. I don't know.
Oh, it's I totally get what you mean, and I'm gonna have to call out some specifics from our clan, okay? Because I ran a TOA with them, and they said feeling special is free. You know what feeling special is? It's like if you don't know what TOA is, there's this fight, and you have this memory puzzle. It's one of those bop it things. Bop it, spin it, twist it, right? But feeling special makes it go really fast. And it's free in the sense that if you can move fast, I don't know, I guess you can just do it. I don't know. If you can move fast, you can do it. But if you move slow, you're instantly dead. So it's like, is it free or is it free or it's instant death? That doesn't seem free to me. Because like, you ever played Bop It? Bop it, twist it. If it gets too fast, that's what you just get. You fumble with your fingers for a second, your hands cramp up. Oh boy.
I miss Bop It. Whatever happened to that?
Putting on Medic, and I'm saying it's free because it's the Medic is such an easy TOA, and then I'm getting made fun of because it's not free. It's bullshit, Trey.
So you're wrong. We'll just start with that.
You're one of
them. But that's the thing. Exactly. I would never say feeling special is free. It is more difficult than not having it on. But what I always have said about feeling special specifically, and Overclocked 2, is I think people should learn it. I think you should do your first TOA with both of those on, and you should learn that timing, because it is... I think it is easier once you understand those, especially feeling special, or especially Overclock 2. If you learn the raid with those timings and that's all you know, I do think it is easier to do, but I wouldn't say it's easy or free by any means. Because it is at least somewhat difficult, and the punishment is super high for both of those. So that's not free at all.
Yeah, it's brutal. But also, like, oh my God, learning with feeling special on, you know what that reminds me of is when my brother was like, you should learn chambers by doing a solo as your first raid, because then you'll learn every mechanic. I was like, you're a genius. And I did it, and it took me 4 hours. That wasn't fun at all. Oh my gosh. And you know what? I kept listening to him. He said, do your first 20 chambers, because then you'll be on rate for your first purple. I was like, that's a great idea. Do not do that. Don't go into a raid completely blind and say you're going to solo it 20 times. You can solo Toa though. So just don't do it to chambers. Oh my God. Sorry, I didn't mean. Oh my God, I took over your rant. Sorry, keep going.
No, that's okay. Because that's the point I'm making is that this kind of issue is something that is more than just the Doom. The Doom is what kind of inspired it. But yes, Toa invocations are very much the same way. And I'll say for what it's worth, when I run with learners or run with people who don't have many KC, I'll say, do you know Feeling Special? And if they say no, then I'll say, okay, well, we won't run Feeling Special, but I highly, highly recommend after this raid, if you're by yourself, go in to just do Akka and, die as many times as you need to. You can run a 15 invo raid with only Feeling Special on and just run that until you get the timing down. Because it is, and I think this might be part of the core of the issue of when things are called free is so there's things that have like a scaling difficulty, right? Where like they get a little bit easier, like something like Zulrah, where it gets a little bit easier every KC. But there's other types of mechanics in the game that are kind of more binary to where it just has to click, right? It becomes impossible and then it clicks and you get it. And then it's, it's much less, it just, you can do it.
Free.
It's just, yeah. I'm dancing around that word. And I think that is kind of the where that breakdown happens is those binary things where once, the I understand it now meme, once it clicks for you, and we're actually going to have that with, when we talk about Hydra, there's a couple mechanics that are like that. But yeah, I guess just as always, you can hear the rage in my voice, a call to, I don't know, just don't be condescending to people. That can come across. If you're saying stuff is free as a encouragement, it might not come across like that. And I can definitely see how that would be like, oh, you can do it, man. That's like free. Like I can see how people would mean it in that way. And maybe I'm a little sensitive baby and I take it in the wrong way. But yeah, that's kind of my rant.
As you were talking, I'm trying to think of other things because I get why someone would call it free and I get where it's frustrating because it's like once it clicks, then it's like I'm trying to think of something where I struggled and boom, it clicked and I never forgot it. The only thing I can think of right now is there's a game called Beat Saber. Have you ever played Beat Saber?
No.
Okay, so it's like Guitar Hero, but you have swords and you're slicing boxes. But there's this thing in Beat Saber called drum rolling, and it's so hard. And all you're doing is you're rapidly with your swords going up and down, kind of like you're playing the drums, but you got to go fast and you got to do it on time. And it's like Guitar Hero, right? But it's really hard because it's going so fast that like you're either doing it or you're instantly losing because so much is coming at you. I was practicing it and I was just running these songs that had these drum rolling things and I just couldn't get it. And I was like, I just couldn't get it. And then one day I came home from work, booted it up, tried it, and instantly I was getting them all. And every song with the drum rolling stuff, I was getting them all now. Every single time I was just like doing it so well. And I don't know what happened. I just didn't know the timing. And then my brain figured it out. But Dill's here, never figured it out. So the brain just kind of did something on its own. But I'm trying to think of other things that are like that where I don't know,
Feeling Special is a great example.
It is a good one because when you know how to do it, it's actually like people prefer it on because going slow is actually harder because you're not used to going slow, and the whole pattern just takes longer.
The one that I had that same experience with, of I understand it now, was all of the scythe walk timings at Tob. So the Verzik and Zarpus timing, because those are like these rhythms that you get into, and you're either in cycle or out of cycle. And once you get into cycle, it's like, I understand it now. This is how it should feel. And so then every time you might have trouble getting into it. And I've actually, side note, I have had to relearn Tob because I got my Noxious Halberd, and it's changed like everything about how I do those two fights. And I have been struggling so much with it. But when you know how it feels to be in cycle, like how it should feel, then you have something to aim for. And then that part of it kind of clicks. And then once it clicks how to get into it, then you're good to go. It's free. You heard it here first. Verzik is free.
Another example of this is like Wooks walking at Vorkath. I've been doing Vorkath lately. First time with Lance, really. And we're just talking about every other boss right now. But I've been trying to do the Wooks walking, and I just like once it clicked, I was like, oh, here we go.
I had that exact same thing. I did over 1,000 KC of Vorkath on my main with the Dragon Hunter crossbow, and I could never figure out Wooks walking. And within 5 KC of doing it with the Lance, I was like, oh, I get it now. It's
interesting. Okay, so you were doing Doom, got up to the guide you're watching says everything's free to level 7, which, by the way, I've done some Doom. Not even level 1, I would say, is free. It's all pretty tough.
And that's been, even in our community, it's been people saying, oh, up to Delve 3 is brain dead, up to Delve 4. People will just, wherever they start struggling, they say everything before that is easy. And it's like, everybody's different.
It's almost like it's hard to remember when you didn't know it. RuneScape's a weird game. We're killing bosses hundreds of times. I don't know what other games you kill a boss hundreds of times. Even World of Warcraft, you get capped at one, you kill it once a week for a lot of the bosses. Well, it's dungeons and stuff. So anyways, I haven't played that game so long. I don't know why I'm bringing it up. It's all the WoW players playing RuneScape. But like, I was, I've been on my main recently killing a lot of these bosses, and I'll have like 500 to 1,000 kills on a lot of these bosses, and I have to relearn the fight because it's been like years since I last killed them. But then once you've done it another 100 times, that's when you can start turning on some Netflix on the side and really start just shutting your brain off and grinding. But it's hard. I've been trying to watch Trailer Park Boys while I'm killing some of these bosses, like workout and stuff, and it's tough. I can't concentrate on both of them because then I just keep fucking dying.
Yeah, I think the seed of elitism is forgetting where you came from and just being able to see somebody who's struggling with something that you don't struggle with, and remembering that you used to struggle with that. And once you forget that, that's where you've kind of lost your way, in my opinion. You know what I mean?
I've been thinking about this a lot with my work lately. Like, and I want to hear from you guys too. Is there anything that like you've been doing for so long that like you can't even remember what it's like to not know it?
Walking.
Yeah, maybe you got to teach someone. Like my kid, I've been teaching my kid. He's 3.5 years old. So we got him a bicycle a bit ago. But I have to teach him how to ride a bike, and like it's tough. I'm like, I don't even know where to start. Do we start with balancing, pedaling? Like I forget that like my kid he gets on his bike. He can't pedal. He can't steer. He can't do them all at once because it's just too many things at once. And I'm like, in my head at first, I'm like, what do you mean you can't pedal and steer and look in front of you? Like we can't. What do you mean you can't do all these things? And then I have to remind myself, like, oh shit, like you really do have to learn them one at a time. So I want to hear from other people. Yeah, if there's anything that you have been doing for so long, because like I work in audio editing, and like I sometimes have to explain things about my job to a coworker who doesn't know anything about like audio production, and I literally like sometimes have no clue. Like I have a hard time putting myself in their shoes, being like, well, like what's important for them to know? Like I don't know. Anyways, maybe I'm just
it's tough. I totally get what you're saying. It's the same. Like I'm an electrician, and people are so afraid of electricity, and they're like,
oh yeah,
just I think we as electricians like to kind of encourage that because it prevents them from messing with our stuff. It's like an extension cord that's not even plugged in, and they're like, oh, I don't want to get shocked.
If I plug the other side in, is it infinite power? Yes, it is. Anyway, sorry. So talk about the Doom of Macchiato. This guide is telling you how much better you need to be at the game in order to watch the video itself. What else has been going on?
No, yeah,
it's a cool boss. I can't wait till we get there to talk about.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in it, and it is the kind of thing where you just have to break it down mechanic by mechanic and learn each of them, and they're just all happening at once, and then you have to learn them individually because they're going to start happening multiple at the same time, and you have to very, very quickly make a priority list of, like there'll be a boulder that'll come out and you have like 4 or 5 ticks before it explodes and you have to move, but there's a grub that's about to hit. So you have to you see the boulder, but know that you're not going to click away quite yet, because you want to do this other thing first. And so that kind of, honestly, my only criticism of it is the idea that, with the delve mechanic of the rewards, the idea is that you build up this massive pile of loot, and every time you click to go further, you're risking all of that. Mm-hmm. And, huge asterisk, I've only gotten to Delve 5, but I've heard similar things from people who've gotten, 9 plus, is if it's not a unique, there's basically no reason to ever cash out. Like it never feels like, oh, I'm risking all this money. You're usually risking like 200 or 300K. And even as an Iron Man, it's like a rune pickaxe and fire runes. That is where the Colosseum way of doing it, where you see what the loot is before. So you're like, that twisting of your gut of I do have to complete this to get the loot is kind of cool if it's a unique or something. But
I've heard the experience of seeing the pet in your next fight and then having to go through that pressure is like immense. Now, Trey, I got to ask you, how did you think that music, did that help at all with you feeling a little feisty? I think it got me riled up, to be honest. I got a little...
It made you angrier?
I don't know what happened.
There is, not to go on a whole tangent, it is one of those things, I think it's ADHD related, where like intense, loud music calms you down and calm music agitates you.
Oh, yeah?
I mean, that's how I feel, at least. Like I like listening to metal and stuff helps me focus or calm down and stuff.
It's true. Like, my wife will play just like autumn jazz music playing upstairs right now, and it just puts me in a fighting mood. No, I'm just joking. My wife is the opposite though. I like my metal. I like a whole bunch of music, but she likes very calm, very like elegant music.
Yeah.
So anyways, we'll try this music again. I stumbled across it while I was just like roaming Varlamore. Varlamore is awesome. It might be one of my favorite places in the game. And they have this like island, Alderaan. Shirley, you've been there?
Yes, where mixology is.
Where mixology is. And I love Alderaan. I think it is one of the prettiest places in the game. I love all like these like they're growing grapes, all these vineyards everywhere. It's I really like it. And this music comes on when you're just walking around and it feels so good. Now for game. Okay. Well, just one more time, I'll test it out. I mentioned I'm on my main account again. I'm taking a break from my iron. Right now. And I just, you know what it was? I think what set me over was training Herblore. I was, I did a whole poem about training Herblore. It was in the poem though. And I was getting kind of burnt out. So then I said, you know what? Mixology looks kind of cool. People say wait till level 82 because it's free after that. But beforehand, it's not. So I was like, maybe I should wait to 82 because you unlock a different prayer potion you can make. Whatever. But then I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm just going to go. I'm going to have some fun. Get some Herblore experience. Unlock some of the rewards. Because Mixology, you're making like all these different potions or these concoctions that you have to then, I guess they're selling them. I'm not really sure what they're doing with it, but that's the idea, is you're making these like drinks that you're then putting on a conveyor belt and they're being sold. And I went from like really enjoying the minigame thinking this is great, this is fun. People said this is what Giants Foundry should be. And I was like, yeah, I agree, this is what Giants Foundry should be. But then after 45 minutes, I was like, no, I changed my mind. Mixology sucks. This isn't even what mixology should be, because this is fucking boring. Like, it's just, all you do is mix 3 different colors together, and it tells you, you have mixed these 3 colors to make this potion, go put it in a machine, and then you're done. And you just gotta wait for it, and then you turn it in, and you get some points, and some experience. It's not a whole, neither the points nor the experience is a lot, which means if you actually want to grind out any rewards, you're going to be there for a really, 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 really long time. I've only unlocked one of the rewards, these classes, and the rewards are great. But holy shit, is it ever brutal. This is such a boring mini game. It's like they got it halfway done. And they're like, we got the activity, and then we got to do the part that kind of makes the activity more fun, and then they left that part out of it.
I can't disagree with you.
Does it feel like mixology is missing something? It feels so much like it's missing like half of a mini game.
Yeah, I mean, when it first came out, and I did a lot of it, I think, like, similar to you and probably similar to most people, it's like it was really exciting at first, and then it is very slow.
And by the way, quick, there's 3 machines. You got to put your drinks in. It'll tell you what machine to put in. You can speed things up because some of them, they'll like, one of them glows and you can click it and it goes faster. One of them you just spam click to go faster. And the third one, who the fuck knows? Who knows? You just randomly click it and it might work, or it probably won't work. And it does light up as well. And if you think lighting up means you're supposed to click it, you're dead wrong. Lighting up means it's too late. You're supposed to click it. I don't even know. The tick before it lights up. How the fuck am I supposed to know that? Oh my god!
I never ever. I thought I clicked it when it lit up. Maybe that's your plugin's having an error. I don't know.
You have to do it like the second it lights up. So you can't watch it and click it when it lights up because you're too slow. You have to already be clicking it as it lights up. Nonsense.
That one is frustrating because to me that one always prevents me from doing mixology on mobile. I feel like everything else there, you could easily do it on mobile. But that one is just like, you're just never going to get that. And I mean, fine, it can be a little bit slower at the cost of being on mobile, but that one does feel bad. I don't know. Yeah, it's something that, like, the way I've treated mixology on my iron is I process all of my herbs and make them all into potions. And then whatever I have left over, I'll go do with mixology. And, I've gotten the good rewards. And some point I'll go back to green log it. It's not the worst thing in the world, but definitely not the best.
It's just, there's no agency to do things correctly or fast. It's literally like a day job where you just punch in and punch out, and you're making minimum wage. And there's no point in doing things better because you're not going to get that much reward. They have this flower and it grows somewhere in the room, and you can add it, and it's supposed to boost your stuff. And that sounds like, okay, maybe that can add an element of skill, an element of I can get better at this. Maybe I just got to be quick at grabbing it. And it spawns like once every hour. So like you're not even going to be looking for it because it's so rare that it actually spawns. And it like does nothing. It's such a small boost for how rare it is. I don't know. It just feels like you punch in, you punch out, and then after like 1,000 hours, you unlock the stuff. And it's just like, there's no way to do things faster. There's no way to just be better at it to finish it quicker. It's,
to me, it feels most similar to Blast Furnace, except Blast Furnace is extremely fast XP.
And I feel like you can fuck that up. Like, I feel like when I do Blast Furnace, I can mess it up. Like, there is pressure to do well, because if I don't, I screw my whole chain of ore smelting up. Whereas here, if I mess up, whatever, I'm gonna go do another one.
Yeah,
anywho,
it's not my favorite for sure.
I had to complain about it because I was excited for it, and then I was very disappointed. I don't know why they didn't make it like an overcooked kind of thing, or like a timer of like, make these certain ingredients and you get bonus. You have a minute to complete as many of these specific potions and you get these bonus experiences. There's nothing to like light a fire underneath you to go faster. So you can kind of, anyways, and the grind is so long that like, I have a hard time committing to like, just if I be efficient, that will shave off 200 hours from this grind. And it's like, no, this is 200 hours of this 1,000-year grind. It's not that bad, but it feels like time moves really slow when you're in there after a bit.
It does. It really does. I don't think any.
So I'm on my main because of that.
It's like the worst combination of active with low reward and low XP. Which is, just a recipe for very unsatisfying.
And I like people say this is what Giant's Foundry should be. And I was like, great. And at first I agreed. But I think part of it being like the fact that you can mess up your blade, very frustrating. But it kind of gives you that pressure to like do things right, I guess. I don't know. Sometimes I'd fuck up a potion. I just didn't care. I was like, whatever. But yeah, anyways, I did some mixology and it looks so beautiful, and the idea, and then when we talk about these bosses, we talk about the themes sometimes. The theme and everything is so great. Then you do the activity, and it's like, you guys stopped just a little bit too short. I unlocked the bigger potion storage on my main.
That's all you need on a main.
And then I got the goggles on my iron, and that's as far as I made it. But that's enough. I have done enough mixology on my main for now. That's kind of all I had to add there. Guys, let us, should we incorporate this, what's called Peace and Prosperity, the song that's unlocked on the Isle of Serenity. Sorry. It's on Aldrin, plays with the song Isle of Serenity. So should we keep playing it when we're pissed off? We'll have to see. Trey, anything else before we start with our first boss, the Alchemical Hydra?
No, let's do it.
All right, we are looking at the Alchemical Hydra. This boss came out on January 10th, 2019. It is a Slayer boss requiring, let's see here, 95 Slayer to kill. So it's the highest Slayer level requirement for a boss. And it's an interesting fight. Let me look at my notes here. Okay, so these are the notes I have. So the pros, the things I like about it, it's kind of like this, and I think they get away with this a little bit more because it's a Slayer boss. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but we can see. But it kind of is it's double dipping a bit. It's a bit of a blue collar boss because it has really great loot. Like every kill is worth roughly about 200K per kill. But on top of that, it's also got some uniques that are also worth a fair penny. So it's which that differs from Vorkath. You got the Hydra Claw, which is it's 56 mil. You got the Hydra Leather for the gloves, which is 13 mil. Sorry, the claws for the lance. You can get a Brimstone Ring, which is like 4 mil, I think it is. About 5 mil. Okay, so that's all right. And then it's got Dragon Throwing Knives and Dragon Throwing Axes. And this is crazy. The Dragon Throwing Knives can drop between 500 and 1,000. Dragon Knives are worth so much money these days that if you get a Dragon Knife drop from Hydra, it's going to be between 7 and 15 mil. Well, that's a lot.
That's very recent because those are used a lot at Mocha.
Is that why there's so much right now?
Yeah, they skyrocketed because of that.
15K per. Oh my Jesus. Yeah, because beforehand, you really only used it for PKing, those poor PKers. Yeah, so they sat about 5 to 10K, that's still a lot. And now they've shot up to between 15 and 25K. So almost doubled, or has doubled. Okay, I didn't know that. Well, okay, back to the notes. So the fight itself is kind of decent, but there are parts of it that I don't really like. So you have this Hydra, it's got 5 different heads. It's going to switch between range and mage attacks, and this goes to my cons, because originally it did switch like every 3 attacks, but you had to count because it would just switch without telling you. Now it does an animation, so you can actually visually see when it's switching, so it's a little bit better. I still find it a bit annoying, but whatever. But one thing I like is as the fight goes on, it changes colors and it develops different attacks. But as with each new phase, one of the heads falls off from the Hydra until you only have 2 heads at the very end. That's when you kill it. So I think that's really cool. The lore is kind of neat. The Dragonkin, mostly from they've basically been experimenting on Hydras and different monsters, and the alchemical Hydra is something that kind of spawned from it. A last piece about the fight, because this isn't a pro or a con. Well, it will be a con when I get to it, but it doesn't have to be. You have these 3 different vents. They're blue, red, and green. You have to drag the Hydra onto each of these vents, depending on what color it turns. And that's going to basically lower its defense. And you do no damage otherwise. I have that as a con as well, though, because I find it kind of annoying, because when it becomes brain dead, as in you turn your brain off, what I end up doing pretty often is I kind of lose track of the orientation of the room, and I'm just on autopilot moving on the outskirts, and I drag the Hydra onto the wrong vents, the wrong colored vents, and then I don't even realize I'm not even doing any damage to it. That's a me problem, but once maybe it's a me problem, maybe others experience this too, but when I'm killing like nonstop, grinding it nonstop, I find I mix the vents up every now and then, and those fights get very annoying because it takes so long. So I mentioned with each new phase, it has different attacks. There are some ways you can skip all the attacks, which is kind of cool. Some of them can be kind of annoying. And you almost feel like I feel like there's a phase where when it turns red, it shoots fire at you. It's really annoying that if you don't skip it, I mean, I should just say you're going to skip it because it's really annoying to do it otherwise. And I did find skipping that phase kind of annoying, although there's some new tech out there, so that's been not too bad. What did I miss about the alchemical Hydra? Trey, did anything I miss or anything you want to tackle on?
Yeah, I mean, one of the biggest things that I don't think you mentioned is the biggest con of Hydra is it's only assigned from Konar.
That's right. It's a very good point.
It's very annoying because that is literally the only reason to do Konar unless you are trying to get Dusk Mystic. So you'll get to this point in your account where you want to get your Hydra done. So then you like have to, and I know that the block lists are being changed, which is great. But
per usual, once this comes out, that change will already be added.
I hope so. God, every week I'm hoping they do that change.
Yeah, me too.
Konar is objectively the most frustrating Slayer boss or Slayer master, because it does feel like a boss, honestly, that you have to conquer. Because I guess if you don't know, Konar gives you a Slayer task, but also gives you a specific location you have to kill those bosses in. So all of the things that are great about Slayer, going to your favorite spots for different things, being able to do boss variants, don't happen. You can get lucky, like, okay, Smoke Devil's in the Smoke Devil dungeon or whatever. It's like, okay, I can do Thermi, but like Tormented Demons, Demonic Gorillas, those kind of things, you'll never be able to do at Konar. So anyways, long story short, Konar's terrible. And the only reason people ever go there is for Hydra, and people go there and they're either Turiel skipping or Turiel boosting. And they're either having to do a bunch of extra work or spend a ton of points only in the pursuit of getting a Hydra task.
It is weird because like we have a bunch of Slayer Masters in this game, and almost all of them work. You need a certain combat level to unlock them, basically. And then once you unlock the next one, then you move to the next one. You don't go back. Usually. I think there's some like niche cases why you might use like Neve over Duradel, but for the most part, like you just kind of move up the ladder. But then you have Konar, and same thing with Wildy Slayer. Wildy Slayer is much different, but Konar isn't like, she definitely does assign lower level monsters compared to Duradel. But yeah, as you said, she's going to focus on specific areas you have to kill the monster. Now, the one thing I do like about her is that this is such a specific me benefit, I guess, but I'm at the point of my account where like I'm either hunting the bosses or I'm not killing the Slayer variants. There's no reason to. But Konar has a chance at giving you the keys, which allow you to get the mystics that you mentioned, the Dusk or whatever it's called, Dusk Mystic. And it's just a collection log item. So I like being able to switch it up and do some Konar and being like, Cal fights. I hate killing Cal fights, but I guess I'll do it for the points and I'll do it for the brim, the brim, what are the brimstone keys? That's what they're called. Mm-hmm. But yeah, overall, it's very frustrating because it is kind of dumb that that's the only way you can get the alchemical Hydra task, hey?
Yeah.
I'm surprised they haven't added it to Duradel or anything.
Yeah, and so I guess, one thing is go, check out the All About Slayer featuring MIDI. We talk a lot about a lot of these things, but, just a couple things to summarize is, for one thing, I think something me and MIDI both really agreed on is, and something they're not fixing with the Slayer update, is Slayer would be vastly better if every Slayer master was the best at something. Like, as it stands, Duradel is the best for pretty much everything, except for, I believe, Neve/Steve is the best for like Jad tasks, and Konar is the only one you can get Hydra from. That's kind of how it all plays out. But yeah, I think it would be cool.
Neve used to be good for experience too, but that might have changed over the years.
They did. If you do all of your diaries, you do get boosted points from both Neve and Konar. But
yeah.
But anyways, I think in my mind, what Konar could use is, if she still needs to do the like killing in a specific place, what if she was also best for boss tasks, had the highest rate of boss tasks? So then it's like Konar is the best for boss tasks, Duradel is the best for XP, and Neve is the best for fast points, or something like that, where I wish every Slayer master, depending on what you're going for, because that's what's so fun about Slayer is, you kind of you focus on these different areas. But at any rate,
I bet you will get a Slayer master one day that's specific for bosses, or something like that. That's what
people have been asking for, yeah.
And they pitched it once, it didn't quite make the cut, and it is a thing in RuneScape 3, and I bet you, if they pull it again, tweaked a bit, it would pass.
You know what I want more than that is, I want the ability to turn off getting boss tasks for things that you can do on a normal Slayer task. Like, when you get a like Grotesque Guardian's boss task, you're so angry because you could have just had, you can do far more of them on a normal Gargoyle task, and you feel like you wasted a roll on the boss task table. I wish they would remove, Gargoyles, Abyssal Demon, or, Grotesque Guardians, Sire, those kind of things from the boss task, because it's just annoying.
I have Leviathan, and I have that one saved because Leviathan's hard. It's kicking my ass. And then I got a Vorkath task. So I got 2 boss tasks right now. It's awesome.
Which that one you could do on Blue Dragons. And Vorkath is a special case where technically it's not even better to do on a Slayer task. But
yeah, I know. Yeah. But this one is specific Vorkath.
Yeah.
Okay, let's
going back to Hydra.
Yeah.
So the fight itself it's cool. I really like how it loses a head every time, and that changes the fight. I almost wish they did more with that, where if it was like it starts off with doing five of some type of attack and then 4 of some type of attack. Like, I like how the very last phase it's going between the 2 heads, and I kind of wish it felt more like that throughout the fight, where the number of heads is very indicative of how it's like attacking you and stuff.
I love it. It's like, it tells the story. You're slicing off the heads, even though you're probably shooting it with a bow or something. How's that work? We don't know how that works, but whatever. And then like at the end, it's like the enraged phase. It's like the Hydra's like, I'm going to just give everything I have to kill this thing. Okay, quick tangent. We don't have to get into the weeds with this one, but you can tell whoever was designing some of these, the models for the like creatures in Mount Konar, what's it called? Mount Karloom?
Karloom.
They went a little extra. Everything has such cool like death animations. Like the the drakes and stuff and worms. Everything just is so cool. When it dies, they like explode or they friggin', I don't know. They do some cool shit. Sorry. Okay.
Yeah. So one of my biggest complaints about Hydra, you're talking about how you have to maneuver it over to these vents, which is very frustrating for a boss that it doesn't melee. It does range and mage. So you have to go so far away from it to get it to move because you have to get out of its range, like its attack range. And so if it was a melee boss, that would be very different. You could do a little bit, but if you're meleeing it, you have to like lose all this DPS running really far away to get it to move to where you need it to be. And you have to do it. There is no situation where you will ever like, oh, I'm doing like a vent skip. There's no such thing because you do so little damage.
And you know what's annoying about the vents too is like you don't just drag it on the vents. The vents like sploosh up every couple of ticks, I guess. You got to wait for it to sploosh up. So when I'm in this autopilot mode, there are times where I'm just running around in circles I'm watching Trailer Park Boys. I'm listening for the Hydra to go or whatever it does when it gets hit by the vent. And then I get to the vent, but I just keep moving. So I'm in autopilot mode and it doesn't go off because, I missed the tick that it goes off on. Sorry, cutting you off again. Go on.
And I think a lot of its specials, like the lightning special and the fire special, are frustrating because they have we'll say a moderate skill floor. Like they're a little difficult to learn. But my problem is they have a really low skill ceiling because they're specials where you have to just avoid the mechanic. And there's no, like you are doing like a flame skip, like you're saying. But for the most part, like the lightning one, you're having to run around and it's not like you're doing DPS while you're doing it. It's like, I'm going to stop the fight, avoid this mechanic, and then the fight resumes, That's what it feels like. And the flame skip, much less so, because you can kind of DPS during it, but there still is like, okay, I gotta stop fighting, I gotta walk over here, skip the flames, okay, we're back into the fight. And that's always annoying, and it's in a lot of bosses, but it's just an annoying kind of thing where like the Doom has this mechanic where it goes into this like shield phase, and it's like, okay, let's just put the fight on pause for a minute and do this shield phase, then we can get back into the main health bar here. So that's another thing about it. That's kind of the specials in general are kind of annoying. And when, like you said, with the fire one, when you mess up the fire one, it is so annoying. You're like, all right, well, I'm just keyboard. I'm just, like you mess it up by one tick and it's like, okay, I guess I'm not going to do DPS for 15 seconds because I have to walk around or I'm going to get hit 15s every tick.
I'm going to get hit with more damage. And every time the fire hits you, it like interrupts any of your movement and stuff. So you get, it's a domino effect. You usually get hit by a couple fires and,
But yeah, so that's the fight. I really like the last part. And I like the fight in general. Something that people always, there's a lot of jokes about how like, oh, I got a Hydra task. This is going to take me a month. I feel that way about Slayer in general. I don't like getting a boss task for 180 of a boss. I wish they were like half as big and twice as common in general. But
it's a lot. That's a lot. Like I said, I have a Vorcast kill. I got a forecast task. I got 50 of them to kill, which doesn't seem like that much. It's enough. I spent last night, I'm like, I only got like 20 kills. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, even like tormented demons or demonic gorillas, it's like you get 180 of them and you're like, oh man.
It's gonna be like 7 hours.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the fight, it's a solid like 7 out of 10, I'd say. And then the loot,
that's pretty high.
Yeah, I mean, I lean favorable towards it, but like I'm not mad when I get a Hydra task because that's the only thing I'm going for. If I'm at Konar, that's what I'm there for.
Yeah.
And if I got a Hydra task from Duradel, it would be like, all right, cool, Hydra, that's better than freaking trolls or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then as far as the loot goes, I mean, I'm desperate for the 2 big drops on my iron. The Brimstone ring is probably 5 mil because of moons, I'm guessing.
We didn't even talk about what the Brimstone ring does. What does it do?
It's a defense ring. It's like a tank ring.
I think it's like a hybrid ring.
Is it an early hybrid ring? I think it has really good defensive stats, doesn't it?
It might. Okay, so it's got 4. It's equally defensive and offensive. So it's just got stats across everything. So yeah, hybrid on all combat styles and offensive and defensive. So PKers like it.
Well, cool. But generally speaking, it's kind of dead content. I mean, most people don't use it.
It's not meant for the Iron Man because by the time you get to this ring, like you're definitely gonna have another ring. Sorry, I got distracted. Did you know this has a passive effect? I didn't know that.
I can't think of what it is. What is it?
Whenever each time the player attacks using a spell or any magical attack, there's a 25% chance that the target's defensive roll will be reduced by 10% for that attack. So basically, you have a 25% chance at reducing their magic defense by 10% for that single attack.
Why not 100%? Like, I mean, why?
PKing,
like we have who cares about PKing? I'll say it. Nobody cares.
This has to be the PvP ring.
But, that PvP aside, if they made the Brimstone ring, if they buffed it to be kind of a light version of the Confliction gauntlets and not able to stack with the Confliction gauntlets, because the new Confliction gauntlets from the Doom, if you miss your attack with a one-handed mage weapon, your next attack will roll with double accuracy. So if they made it a light version of that, like if you miss your attack with a spell, there's a 25% chance of having double accuracy, or a 50, like a light version, that would make the Brimstone ring probably really valuable and useful. But as it stands, it's kind of considered dead content. It must be PvP because you never see it used anywhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, the two big ones, you have the Hydra leather, which upgrades your Barrow's gloves into ferocious gloves, best in slot melee gloves. Love it. I want it. And then the big one is the Hydra claw, which makes the Dragon Hunter lance. Love it. Want it desperately. Need it for chambers.
Best in slot for dragon killing, or Olm killing, or Wyvern killing, or Worm killing too, maybe? I think so. Anything that vaguely looks like a dragon.
I have a small tangent here. So they recently buffed the Dragon Hunter wand, and I've really wanted it because it's like pretty much as good as a Kodai for an Iron Man, and it's got 10% magic damage even on non-dragon enemies, and it casts ancient spells. So it's like best in slot for barraging if you don't have like a Kodai or something. It's really good now. And I've been trying to get it, and I just find Huey a very annoying boss to try to get going because, the guys that I like run, Tob and, raids with, they don't care. They're mains and they don't really care about Huey. Sometimes they would go with, they would be like, oh, I'll do it for you. And then I kind of feel like a dick because it's like,
How many more kills are you going to make me do, Trey? I want to get out of here.
Exactly. But, then masses is kind of a waste of time. So I was like, all right, I'm going to try a solo kill just to see. And, it's one of those things where it'll take longer, but if I get the drop, it'll be in my name. And I did a solo kill and it was almost 11 minutes long. And I was like, okay, well, that is not the way. I'm never doing this again. I'll just have to figure it out. And then I got the Dragon Hunter wand on my one solo kill. So
that's awesome.
Okay, well, I guess I don't have to make this decision.
I love Huey. I love Huey masses. I love Huey small teams. I love Huey solos. Oh,
I should have been messaging you to go then, but too late.
Oh man, I got even the solos are they're long, but I got like a 20 Ranar seed drop, and it's like, oh hell yeah, these are all mine. I don't care. This is awesome.
The irony now is probably if I took the Dragon Hunter wand there, the kills would be a lot faster.
Are you going to use the wand for Hydra? You wouldn't use the wand for Hydra.
No, I don't think so. But I can tell you a place, and here's your Wilderness Podcast exclusive here, Dills.
Whoa, we don't got a sound effect for this one.
It was on my Inferno checklist.
Whoa.
Because that was
get Addy on the line.
Yeah, I know. I'm not gonna. I'm trying not to talk about it too much, but that was definitely in my mind because it is a huge boost for those freezes and stuff at Inferno and Blood Barrages. So, but anyways, back to Hydra. I guess that's kind of all. I think the rewards are good. The fight is just north of okay, and The only getting it from Konar is a huge issue that to put it in Jagex's words, is a bad gameplay loop.
Woo. All right. Are you going to smash or pass this bad boy?
I'll smash overall.
Smash. I am on.
I'll stab it actually. But
You're gonna what?
I'm gonna stab it actually instead of smashing.
Oh, stab it. Okay, yeah, you can do that too. I don't. This is a tough one. I'm not sure. I think I might have to pass because it does fall into that counting boss category. And Jagex went through this phase where they realized, oh my gosh, we could get players to count as part of the mechanics. That'll make it tough. The good players count, the bad players don't. And this is like one of those bosses. CG Hunlif is another one where they're like counting bosses. They originally had no animation, so you had to count. And I hated it. And they've changed it a little bit, so it is better. But you still by not counting, you're still going to take damage at times, and I hate that. So I'm going to pass. But it was so back in 2020 on my main account, I did a T-bow rebuild, which is T-bows are expensive, right? They're like over a bill. So it's very common for someone to say, I have my bank's worth over a bill. I'm going to sell all my stuff and buy the T-bow. And it's called the T-bow rebuild because then your bank's empty. You got to rebuild it and you only have the T-bow. It's nice because when I've done it, it's because I was bored of my account and then I did the rebuild and it keeps things fresh a little bit. And Hydra was the first boss I killed with my T-bow. And that's a great boss to kill for the T-bow because it feels so good. You hit so high with it. It's awesome. So I'm right on the cusp because it's not bad. The T-bow makes it feel awesome. And the drops are great. But Jagex, don't make me count. You make me count, I'm not gonna do it. So that's yeah. Okay, so pass for me.
Fair enough.
Next up, we have you're gonna like this one. The Hespori, releasing on the same day. So January 10th, 2019 was this big expansion to Zaya. They added the Kabos Lowlands. Am I calling that right? And then the Mount Carulum and a bunch of stuff was added, including the Farming Guild. And with the Farming Guild, we got our Hespori, which is this boss that you need to plant. So you get these seeds, you plant them in the ground. And once it's done growing, you got to fight it. So yeah, it's kind of cool. Let me go through my pros and cons, and I'll do my best to explain it. But it's what is there to even explain? There's really not much. Where do we start with this boss? There's not much about the fight to talk about. And there's not much uniques. Maybe I'll just start there. So a big reason people are killing this boss is because it drops only one unique. And but it's a good one, especially it's a good one for everyone. It's the bottomless compost bucket. So it's just like a compost bucket you can load up with like unlimited compost. So that's just convenient. But what's really nice for like irons who are wanting to get this is that so very convenient for anyone. But then irons you can you get compost quicker, and anyone who makes their own compost. It's not just irons. You get double the amount of compost when you're pulling it out of the compost bin. So that is the way to do it. That compost bin in the Farming Guild gives you 60 buckets of compost in it when it usually gives 30. So that's really cool. It sells for about 1.4 mil. So that's all right. And when you kill it, you're going to get a bunch of farming experience, like 12K. And that's it. That's about it. And it drops a bunch of other seeds. Not a whole lot to talk about, but Trey, you've got some. Is it a love hate or is it just straight up hate? Do I need to play the music again?
No. Okay. I got the drop, so I can't be too mad anymore. Hespori. The first thing about Hespori that's so interesting to me, and I've asked you and multiple of the guests we've had about it, because it is very unique in the sense that it is a PvM boss that you fight entirely through PvM. It gives skilling XP. So that is the only instance of that I can think of. And I always wonder when we talk about improving skilling, making it more like PvM, if that is an avenue that we should go down, because obviously everybody agrees PvM is more fun than skilling for the most part. And so having a thing that is a PvM fight that gives you XP, like what if there was a golem boss that gave you mining XP, that kind of stuff. Is that an avenue we want to go down in this game? And a lot of people say no because they want skilling to feel different than PvM, which is fair. But the problem with that is that then we get mixology, and that feels like skilling. I'll give it that.
Can't quite figure like Hallowed Sepulcher where you got to really sweat it out. That feels good. Like I think we need more PvM. Like it's a boss, but everything about it you're just doing skilling. But like Volcano, I think is a great example of like a skilling boss because it could be harder. Like you can make it a little bit more difficult, I think. But I like what they did. The idea was Volcano.
I like Volcano a lot too.
That was interesting. But yeah, it is like one of the first. Well, it is one of the first, especially that drops, a ton of experience.
Which Volcano is more of a PvM boss than it is a skilling boss because it doesn't give, which one of the weirdest updates they've done where you can sacrifice your loot to actually get decent XP from it. You don't get great XP from Volcano. And it's kind of sad because it would be a place that everybody would like to go to if you got competitive mining, smithing, rune crafting XP. Like even like 40, 50K an hour of each of those and going for the uniques, it could be a really great boss. But we're not talking about Volcano right now. So Hespori, anyways, the fight itself is pretty cool. It does have what I was talking about with Hydra, where how you just have absolute downtime where you have to kill these like little things, these little 4 growthlings that the boss is immune until you kill all 4 of them. So it is kind of whatever. It is generally a kind of whatever fight. And yeah, it drops the bottomless compost bucket, which I went extremely dry on. Okay, I went 3 times dry on, so not extremely, on my iron. And it's a time locked boss. So by the time I had my bucket, I want to say either 97 or all the way to 99. I think I got 99 farming before I got my bucket. And that's ridiculous.
I got mine super early and it's like, I never have to worry about, it felt like I never had to worry about compost again, which is like, wonderful.
Yeah, it's such a good, it's a quality of life thing, especially on an Ironman. It is just so necessary. And yeah, if you have a main, buy a bottomless compost bucket before you ever do farming. I mean, it's just essential.
Get it right away.
So the time locked part of it is really frustrating. Getting the seeds, I think, is actually a good thing. Because
you can't trade the seeds. You can only get them from farming, the random chance at getting one as you're farming other crops.
Yeah, so it's not like you're going to get 99 just through Hespori because you do have to do normal farming. And maybe that would be, honestly, that could be a really cool way of doing what I was talking about more. Having a key that, or, a geode that you get when you're mining that unlocks, one chance, kind of like the Giant's keys for Obor and Bryophyta, like something where you can do normal skilling and build up a mass of these to go kill this boss, 20 times. Mm-hmm. I actually think that would be a really cool idea, as opposed to it is like Obor and Bryophyta. It's a hated thing because it feels like you're going out of your way. But if it was something that you just got passively while you were doing normal skilling, that would be actually, I have never thought of that before, but as I'm saying it, I actually really like that idea. I think a lot of, this is not related to Hespori, but I think a lot of what they need to focus on with skilling is not mini games, but ways to make normal skilling better. And they tried that with forestry, and I think it's just an absolute mess. But I think that something like more things that you could get passively from normal skilling like that, it would be, I don't know, that would be what I would like to see. But anyways, that's kind of all there is to say about Hespori. It's I don't know. I don't hate it.
Yeah. There's not a lot to talk about, which is why we go on like 7 different boss tangents that are unrelated in the end.
It's not about the boss. It's about what it represents,
Exactly. I forgot to go through my notes, but I like it's a unique boss. You grow the boss. That's kind of cool.
Yeah,
like the
that is really
idea
cool.
of it. It's frustrating because if you want to farm it, like you said, it's a time gate. You got to wait for it to grow. I like that the uniques go along with it. So, the compost, you're not getting some dragon claw upgrade. Sometimes we get like weird items that like, what is this doing here? But everything, you look at the Hespori drop table, like, yeah, of course, this is everything. What was I expecting? It's all seeds and then the compost bucket. So it's pretty cool. I like that there's like I don't know if there's a community around it, but at one point it felt like that the skill ceiling for the Hespori is like kind of high when you get into like speed runs. I like that. There was a point in time where I used to see a lot of people were going for like the world best speed runs, and it was really cool because everyone was coming up with different tech on how you get it. Maybe you're using the rune throwing axe because you mentioned there's these 4 saplings that pop up you have to kill halfway through the fight. You use the rune throwing axe to like do that, and then you use death charge to get your spec back. You switch to a Gmod to instantly spec it into the next phase. Like, people are doing crazy stuff like that, and the fight's so short that you're like, it's just so much is happening in that small period. It's really impressive. I thought it was really cool to see these people like racing for the PBs. More so, like, I didn't really follow it for any other bosses, but the Hespori one, not that I was following it, but I thought it was cool. So I was, paying more attention to it.
Yeah.
Negatives. Sorry, go on.
I was just gonna say, on the other side of that, I get really annoyed at how many. There's a lot in this game of bosses that are very simple, but for some reason they have a speed run that is like obscenely annoying.
Oh yeah.
So I don't like when there's like low level bosses that have just the speed run, because it feels good when you're doing a low level boss to green log it, essentially the combat achievement. So it's annoying when it's annoying when you have to, like something like Hespori, where it's like, okay, I did these easy combat achievements, and then I have to wait until I have best in slot gear before I can, do the. But tangent. Sorry, I interrupted.
Oh yeah, no, it can be a bit of annoying. Like, I remember I was on my main. I was like, one of my first things I wanted to do was like get good at PvMing, but I wanted to get my combat tasks, like the diary thing, completed, because so many bosses have come out that I got knocked down a few levels. And Hespori was one of the ones I was looking at to get the try to do some speed running maybe. And I show up there all ready and excited, and I have to grow. I didn't play on one. So yeah, it's like a bit of a momentum killer, especially if you're like someone who wants to just like really grind out something cool. The negatives I have is like, I don't know if they're like, maybe you can tell me, is there any point in grinding this boss once you've got the bucket outside of like the experience or the seeds?
Yeah, the seeds are, yeah, you get the XP from it. It's like what, like 15,000 experience. And then the seeds are good. They help with your farming. The Chronos seed is really good for trees because it can skip a cycle of the growing. The Addis seed is good for like herbs and stuff because it will increase the yield. And then the Iazor or whatever increases the disease prevention, I guess you would say. So that can be good if you've got some like precious seeds that you're worried about, like some Salastris or something on an Iron Man where you only have a couple of them and you want to make sure they grow. But I have not killed it a single time since I got my bucket. So I guess the answer is no.
Yeah. I mean, you can, it's there. But then this kind of goes on to like, okay, let's say there is not the most reason to kill the boss after you've got your compost bucket, after you've got 99 farming. But, let's say you're like, I'm still going to do it because whatever. Maybe I'm an iron. I want to keep getting some seeds. Maybe I'm a main. I want to get the pet. But it's like, a momentum killer, because when I'm doing a farm run, I like to go and do everything in the farm guild. But the last thing I want to do is bank all my farm stuff, pull out some combat gear. Like, there's so many times I'm like, I'm going to go fight Hespori with full graceful and a DDS because fuck it, I'm not taking all this shit off. You know how long it takes me to get this inventory set up? It's a bit of a momentum killer when you're like trying to do a farm run and you feel like, well, I should probably do this too because sort of connected to the farm run, but
I can't say I've ever. I always just did it. I always did it last.
yeah,
So
that's
you're
usually what
already
happens.
banking
And then I'm gambling on whether I actually feel like doing it by the time I get through it. Anyways, but so what's this one to you? Are you gonna smash or pass the Hespori?
I'll pass.
You're gonna pass. All right,
just,
we are
de-iron and buy the bucket.
okay. So here's a cool little bit of lore that I forgot to dribble in here, but this came from when we got the Night at the Theater quest, Theater of Blood, from our last Smash and Pass. If you do the quest now, it's like an actual quest, but there's like a Hespori you need to fight or something in that quest. I can't really remember. And if you look at the Hespori, it kind of looks similar to the Maiden of Sugadinti. They look a little similar.
Looks a lot similar.
Very similar. They're just different.
Equally
But there
attractive.
is actually a strong connection that Hespori bark from the Hespori was used when creating the Maiden of Sugadinti because there was like regenerative properties from the Hespori bark. So they pulled it from it. They put it on this woman named, what's her name? We talked about it last episode.
Karen.
Saren? Oh, Seraphina.
No.
Seraphina, that's it. So they use it. They use the bark on this woman to create the Maiden of Sugadinti. So that's pretty cool. Okay, so yeah, we're our opposites. You're passing. I'm actually gonna smash it because I love the idea of. I like the farming boss. That's cool. That's neat. That was a neat thing to add to the game. So I'll smash it just for that alone. And off to the next boss. This is it's another unique one. Trey, the next boss is the Mimic. Can you guess what year the Mimic came out?
Well, if I've been paying even the slightest bit of attention, I should be able to easily figure that out. But I'm going to say 2018.
Well, Hespori came out in 2019, but we're going in order. So it is a trick question, though. 2019 is when it came out in RuneScape. 1977 is when the Mimic first made its appearance in Dungeons and Dragons. The Mimic being one of the most iconic fantasy monsters, I would say. Like, it's just such a...
Specifically D&D.
Yeah, for sure. And it sees it everywhere. I've been playing... What's another game I've seen it in? I've been playing Elden Ring lately. I think they have some Mimic thing. Some sort of...
Well, all the Dark Souls games all do, yeah.
Okay, so they all have it. And they feel like they're kind of everywhere. Although as I'm trying to name off games that they exist in, it's...
They're everywhere, like somewhere,
But I guess it kind of felt like it was only a matter of time until we saw the Mimic come into old school RuneScape, seeing as how it feels so closely related to D&D. We know it's heavily inspired when the Gower brothers were making old school making RuneScape. But as the game goes on, there's still a fair bit of links. It's a bit of a weird boss, though, because you can't just go off and fight it. The only way is by completing an elite clue or a master clue, and there's a chance that instead of getting the reward chest at the end, instead you get a Mimic chest. You then take this Mimic chest, you go over to this is weird. In a lot of fights, I like to look at the journey of it, and sometimes that can kind of win me over. You're talking about the alchemical Hydra. I like how you're whittling down the heads until there's 2 left, and it's kind of giving its all. Last Smash or Pass, we talked about the gargoyle boss. I really like the journey with it. But this one, the journey doesn't work for me. So you get the Mimic from the clue scroll reward. You don't open it. It tells you it's a Mimic. And I think you can still bypass the Mimic chest and open it anyways and get the rewards. You just missed out on the boss fight. So even right there, it's not following the usual format of D&D, which was you see a chest, you go open it, the chest is going to fight you right away. So you take the chest, you go to Watson's house in Zaya, and you go upstairs, and there's another chest. If I'm remembering correctly, there's a chest sitting on a table, which you then use the chest on the other chest, and you go inside the chest. And then that's where you fight the Mimic. It's kind of an easy fight. It's weak to magic, so you're probably going to use magic, but I don't think I've ever come close to dying. Trey, have you Do you struggle with this boss? Like, do you have any memories of? I should ask you, what's your memory of the Mimic?
Yeah, So my memory of the Mimic on my Iron was just desperately trying to get a task only for the sake of the music track for the music cape. But other than that, yeah, you basically send all of your specs and then I have come close to dying because if you're not really like giving it your all, you can get hit by some of its AoE attacks and get damaged, like get knocked down pretty fast. But other than that, it's a very simple fight. You just dump all your specs into it essentially, and I think mage it after that. But
it's weak to mage, but you can kind of use whatever. I know when it first came out, so a mechanic, it has kind of like an anti-punish. What would you call this? You get a bit of a handicap because if you die, you don't lose the reward chest. You just lose, like the reward gets dialed back a bit, and you can try to fight the Mimic 5 different times. And every time you die, the reward gets dialed back a little bit more. And I guess on the 5th one, you lose the Mimic, which makes it sound like it's going to be a bit more tough than it is. And I know in my main, like I was kind of worried that, oh shit, like this is going to mess me up maybe. And it didn't. I brute forced it. It was so easy to kill. And it spawns these like 3rd age fighters in the middle of it, which was kind of cool. Doesn't really make any sense, but whatever. These 3rd age fighters show up because 3rd age and clue scrolls, that's also iconic. And then as you're fighting it, it's throwing candy at you. So I don't really like the journey of it because why are you bringing a treasure chest to the other treasure chest? Like, how does that let you go inside? And then you're going inside. What treasure chest am I going inside? Is it the one at Watson's house or is it the one I found? And then I'm inside and now I'm fighting the Mimic. And there's first off, and the chest is empty. There's just gold coins on the side. And yeah, what are the 3rd age knights? I get it's a clue scroll related thing, but like, what? Are they shrunk? Did I get shrunk down? Am I getting teleported somewhere? And then why is it throwing candy at me? I get it, like the purple sweets, but why candy? So the journey itself and the fight and all that, it's just weird. But it's RuneScape. We can kind of, there's a bunch of goofiness in it, so I guess we kind of let it slide. Hey, let me go through my my pros and cons. So I like the clue scroll boss, the Mimic. It's unique. It's a unique way of fighting a boss like the Hespori where you have to grow it. The fight itself, it's fine, I guess. This is nothing really wrong with it. That's a pro, I guess. Mimics are iconic though, so I love the idea that we got a Mimic. That's great. The negatives is it could I feel like you could have made it feel more like a Mimic. It doesn't. I don't know. It just feels too random, and it feels like the Mimic is an iconic D&D monster, and I feel like we could have had a better representation of a Mimic in RuneScape. But we can't have multiple Mimics, so it's gone. This is the Mimic we get. I feel like it could have been something cooler where maybe you actually open a chest and then boom, you're getting into a fight or something. That part of me is sad that we won't get that.
I have a pitch for that when you're done.
Oh, fun.
For what that could have been.
And the last thing is it really makes no sense why it's throwing candies. I don't even think they look like purple sweets, so it just looks like pink and different colored candy being thrown at you. So yeah, I could have done coins. The last thing I'll say is I don't like the arena because it's the walls are basically these stacks of coins, but you can kind of clip into it because they overlap. So it looks like you're like running on the wall. It's weird. I don't know. When you're running on the outskirts, it just looks off. That's all I have.
Okay, so I was just thinking, because what we were talking about with Hespori. So what if there was, let's say, some kind of like castle of illusions that has all kinds of whatever inside of it for different content.
So Ravenloft.
Yes, exactly. But part of that is like a thieving, I don't want to say mini game, thieving activity. That's their new word. But imagine you're just like, you're going through and you're looting all these chests, and there's a chance that the chest will turn into a Mimic that you have to fight. So it's like a thieving activity that has some PvM in it, kind of similar to what we're saying with Hespori. That would feel much more D&D, where it's like, it makes you like, it's like a jump scare that it's a mimic.
Mm-hmm.
That would be my pitch, is like a thieving mini game where
That's
you
exciting.
also have combat. Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of the vault, the breaking into the ancient vaults of Cam Dozel. Have you done that?
Yeah.
It's much different, but you run.
Yeah.
You got to find your chests, and it's a thieving mini game too. But the difference is every chest is like the best stuff you can get is like Addy or Mithril. So I don't know. Never could figure out who's doing that, but whatever.
But yeah, I do agree wholeheartedly. The Mimic is iconic, and the fact that it's like guaranteed feels like it takes like everything about a Mimic away from it. Which is funny. Just a side note, in D&D, in Dark Souls, it's also, when it's going to be a Mimic, because the chest will have there's like a chain on the side. So you'll always actually know if it's going to be a Mimic or not. But so maybe
interesting.
But yeah, I would have liked if it was something different. But for what it is, I think it's a cool idea. It's exciting when you're opening a casket and it is a Mimic, and it's like, oh, I get this extra chance. It's never. It's the better. You're never getting the better loot from it. It's just, I don't know. It never seems to actually give you the better loot. But you can always hope. But yeah, I don't really have much else to say about the Mimic. It's pretty. I'm not gonna say it's a nothing boss, but it's there's not much there.
The reason you get excited for it is because you have a 1 in like 250 chance to get a third age item, and those are super rare. So it's really exciting to have kind of a boosted rate from it. And then you also get the we haven't talked about this, but the Mimic does have its very own unique that you can only get. It's the Ring of Third Age, which is that's a good one. Okay, I like that. I should have put that in the pros. It's about 2.5 mil, but what it does is when you put it on, you can turn into any third age item on the ground. So you can the Ring of Coins you might have seen, or the Ring of Nature where you turn into a bush, or the Ring of Stone where you turn into a rock. You got one that can turn into any third age item, I'm pretty sure. Which is that's fun.
It's like best in slot for GE bank standing or like clan events or something.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's good. So yeah, super fun. Smash or pass? What are you thinking?
I mean, I'll do the 1 KC for the music cape and then pass.
Oh, pass. Oh, it's tough. Like, I feel like I want to give it a pass only because it's the Mimic, but I wish they did it a little bit differently. If I could, there's nothing wrong with it, but I feel like they could have made it amazing. Like it could have been perfect. Like something that's exciting, but we still have it, so I'm happy for that. So I guess it's a smash for me. Okay, next up, do you like spiders, Trey?
Yes, I do.
Are you scared of spiders?
I used to be terrified of spiders, and I mowed lawns like with a company, 50 hours a week for like 10 years. And something about the amount of times you run into a spider web and just have it dangling, like a spider dangling from the end of your hat. It's kind of immersion therapy. So I had to get over my fear of spiders. And now, I see them as a benefit, and I think they're kind of cool. So
yeah, I've gone through the same kind of journey. Used to be so scared of them. I remember this one time, quick story. This is kind of insane, actually. So I used to live with my grandparents, and I was playing video games probably like 4 a.m. in the morning, and I was in the basement, and I had to walk through this hallway to come upstairs. So I was going to go upstairs to get a snack, and I walked through I walked one way, and then I walked back, and I walked through a spider web, which is so crazy because like I was gone for like a couple, like 5-10 minutes maybe. And then I was like, that's so weird that there's a spider web when there wasn't a couple minutes ago. So I turned on the light and there was this huge spider, like the size of my palm. It was huge. And I got super scared. So I grabbed this can of like tomato sauce or something, and I just slammed it on the spider. But then it was so big that I was like terrified that I now had to clean this up. Like it was huge. I would have had to like pick up its body, or I don't even know. Like, but what turned out is the can had a little divot. Like it wasn't flat.
Oh no.
So the spider was just chilling out underneath. So it took me like 45 minutes to work up the courage to like it took me a long time to take off the can. And I did it. The spider was still there. I slammed it back down, and then I had to go call my grandma to come do something with it. And she was like, "Oh, that spider's been here for years." Like then I caught her once grabbing a spider from the house and throwing it downstairs. I'm like, Grandma, what are you doing?
There should be bugs down there.
And she's like, she used to live on the back of like this forest. So she was like, it gets all the other bugs. We love the spiders here. But anyways, so I'm much better with spiders now because I don't know. I think
they're better than mosquitoes. That's how I always think about them.
Oh yeah. We have huge ones. When I moved out to New Brunswick out east a few years ago, and the spiders here are huge, but they keep to themselves. So we like them. Anyways, we're talking about a spider next. Sarachnis came out in July 4th, 2019. And this is a spider boss. It was like proposed. It feels like it was one of the first bosses that was proposed as a mid-game boss for people. It's a boss that you can group together, and it kind of follows the old loot system as Corp. But they really thought people were going to actually fight this boss with groups. And I don't know if anyone actually does that. But even the rewards that come from it are quite, the Sarachnis Cudgel. It's a one-handed crush weapon. And it requires level 65 attack. So again, it's like 100k. That weapon itself is kind of built for mid-game, right? It's meant to like bridge the D-Scimitar to whip, but it's a crush weapon. And I guess kind of added as well to make it easier for Iron Man to get their red spider eggs. Red spider eggs, there's a lot of items that were kind of like this. Jagus was kind of trying to figure out how do we prevent bots from getting the spider eggs and selling them, because the best way to get them at the time was like picking them up off the ground. So then they added it to Nightmare Zone, thinking that we'd be AFKing Nightmare Zone and then using points to buy that, which would fight against the bots. And I guess that didn't work. So I don't even know if it's still on the table, but then they started adding it to like Sarachnis and having different bosses. They did this with a few things like cactus potatoes. We can now grow them. Beforehand, you could only pick them up from the Calphite Queen's lair. But yeah, so they were trying to find all these ways to do it. And it's weird they went to Nightmare Zone. Like, let's move these materials to Nightmare Zone. And then when that didn't do anything, then I feel like they might have, I'm going to look it up, but I feel like they might have removed it from Nightmare Zone, but they for sure did add it to other bosses. Do you want to break down what this fight kind of feels like, or?
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you what it's supposed to be and then what it is now. So yeah, you fight Sarachnis generally with melee, crush. That's always a fun thing about RuneScape is you crush spiders. Yeah, so you fight it with crush. And then at a certain hit point threshold, probably 66%, it summons a range and mage spider that will attack you. So you kind of want to kill them. And then at 33%, it'll do the same. It'll summon another range and mage. So you're either taking the time to kill the minions or staying on the boss and killing it as fast as possible, that kind of thing. Every, let's say 4 attacks maybe, it'll go screet, and it'll shoot a web at you to freeze you in place for a little bit. And then, so you have to flick to prey range because it'll get out of your melee distance. And then you have to spam click out of the web to go fight it again. That's pretty much the fight. But then recently we had this new item that was the Arania boots that came with Araxor that let you not get frozen in place by the web. And it's completely changed Sarachnis into a free and brain dead fight, because you can just basically AFK it, because your character will just follow Sarachnis around, auto-retaliating, meleeing the whole time. If you have enough tankiness to tank the mage and the ranger, you can wear carols or something. you'll just sit there attacking him, or there's people I want to say like, sit there attacking him, or there's people I want to say like, using blood fury or blood barraging. And like, I've seen videos about people who will like just have it running during their workday. So it's become a very, very trivial boss fight.
And it's probably not like a bad move, because this boss, it came out as kind of like a first boss. They're like, we want people to get better at PvM. We want more stepping stones. We want more bosses. We don't want them to go head first into Zulrah being your first PvM experience, because that's going to be brutal. So Sarachnis was brought out, but it didn't. I don't think it accomplished that. I don't think there's anyone killing it as a group, because the loot is just going to suck. It's a very like pet farming boss. Like it just feels like every time I go there, it's end game players who are just like cranked out and best in slot gear. So maybe the Arania boots allowing you to skip some of that is not a bad thing, because by the time you get those boots, you're probably a higher level anyways. So
yeah, it's a frustrating fight it's a frustrating drop table, because the cudgel itself has become so irrelevant. They've done so much work to improve the crush meta that
even with the zombie axe, you'd still need the cudgel.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's the cudgel. You have the zombie axe, you have the Makwoidals, you have the glacial Tomatli, the crush, the early mid game crush meta completely excludes the Sarachnis cudgel.
Okay, that's what I thought, and that's probably why it's so cheap right now too. It's
absolutely trivial now.
Yeah, that's fun. So let me go through my pros and cons. I do like that it's built as a mid-level group boss. It wasn't really intended to be a solo boss, but of course, I'm sure they expected that people would be soloing it, especially pet hunters. But the reason I like it being like the way it is as a mid-level is because I had some friends who were playing RuneScape. They were trying to get into it, and I think they were trying to get into it for me because they knew I really liked this game, and I would never get off this game to play other games with them because I was just obsessed. So they gave it a good shot, and they got to like level 90 combat, and there was a period where they were like, they're tired of grinding. We want to kill these bosses. We want to start playing together as a PvM group. And I remember trying to find bosses that we could kill, and like there wasn't really that many. And they were still a little bit too low for Sarachnis, but that was like one of the only options. We had some of the God Wars bosses, but they got destroyed at Bandos, even with me tanking. So I like that this is an option if you've got like some people, maybe it's a group iron, that they're just like, we just want to kill something together. Let's try this Sarachnis boss.
Yeah, I think that my first episode ever on this podcast, or first or second or something, I was saying like, I think it was when they announced Scurious. It was, I remember saying like, yeah, right now, the only thing you can do with your friends if they're really low level is Sarachnis.
I'll go through my pros and cons for Sarachnis. I was already doing this. Oh my gosh. So it's a good mid-level boss. I already gave part of my pros. The second pro I have is they got really creative with this boss in the way it looks. It's a spider, but if you look at the body of Sarachnis, it's a red chompy bird. So the body of Sarachnis itself is a chompy. If you look at it, you'll see it.
Yeah, look this up.
And it's like, wow, that thing looks terrible. Like the way they colored it is beautiful. Yeah, that's one of the times they're reusing something, and I think it
funny.
made it
I've never seen that before.
Yeah, it's cool. So I like that I like how they did that. Let's talk about the journey. I like the journey to get to this boss because it feels like a Dungeons and Dragons. It feels like a Dungeons and Dragons dungeon. The Forthos dungeon has all this stuff going on. You got these little red spiders, which is a great place to like farm some red spiders' eggs. So yeah, you got the red spiders areas. There's even like red dragons. There's a dude in there who will actually tan your hides, and he does some other things. There are these like pages that you can get from all the monsters in there, I think, and they go into a book, which you can unlock a key or something that unlocks another part of the dungeon. And you have a treasure chest there which will give you like some loot, with a lot of food and Cerebrews and stuff, but it gives you other things too. One thing I always loved about D&D dungeons is that they never felt like super linear. Of course, D&D is so big that there 100% are linear dungeons, but quite often there are forks in the road. You stumble across an NPC. Maybe they need your help with something. There's different monsters here. There's parts of the dungeon that you can fully skip, and that's how Forthos feels. And I love that. I think that's freaking awesome as you're exploring it, and then you come across Sarachnis. Sarachnis is kind of at the beginning, so not totally, but. Anyways, it's and there's no quests really tied with the fourth. There are quests tied with Forthos dungeon, but there are things you can do within it and unlock things within it that aren't quests. So it's just like its own isolated dungeon. I love that. It's cool. Yeah, it feels like you're really exploring and adventuring. My cons for this boss is the boss is kind of nothing special. Like it really is kind of whatever. The loot is also kind of whatever, it's not even that great of loot. So yeah, like on my iron, I was trying to look at different ways to get red spider's eggs, and I opted to go to one of the several other spider bosses we have, Venenatus, because it just dropped the red spider's eggs, and it was easier to kill, which is funny. But that being said, this is kind of a con, I guess, but it is yet another spider boss, which I don't know why we have a lot of spider bosses when there's so many other areas you could explore. But that being said, it does make these Arania boots come into the game, which I kind of like that, which is for a different boss. But yeah, we do have a lot of spider bosses. I think we have enough now.
Mm-hmm.
And then the negative is it's a group boss, but like I don't think I've ever seen anyone kill it as a group. So anything else you want to add on?
No, it's a kind of forgettable boss. I think people mostly do for pet hunting and elite clues.
That's true. It's good for the elite clues too. I forgot about that. Are you gonna smash or pass?
I will pass on Sarachnis.
Oh, this is tough. I think I will smash. I don't think there's any rhyme or reason with my smash or pass from each episode.
I've noticed.
Like I'm just trying to think, like, do I want this boss in the game? I do, because I like Forthos Dungeon. I like all that sort of stuff, but it's on the cusp. I'm gonna do a smash, but it is on the cusp of being something I dislike. I feel like we've been on opposite ends of the smash or pass spectrum, but again, I don't know, Trey, do you think you have like a pattern of when you smash or pass things, or do you think every episode we record, it's completely arbitrary whether, like, what rules you have on whether something's a smash or pass? I feel I'm so inconsistent. I don't know what, I have no idea.
I mean, for me, I feel like I'm more consistent because it's the majority of what I'm basing it off of is, do I enjoy killing this boss? Sometimes there's some content that it, like, maybe the rewards outweigh if I care about the boss or not, or, more, like you're doing a little more of like, if there's something really cool about it that outweighs the negatives. And I have a little bit of that, but for the most part, it's like, if I reach the point in my account where it's time to grind this boss, am I like dreading it, or I'm okay with it, or looking forward to it? That's kind of how I base it off of.
Yeah, I'm not really too sure. I think I smashed a lot of the bosses today over the theme of it.
Yeah.
But then I know, going back to a previous episode, the Grotesque Guardians, I'm pretty sure I passed on it, but I feel like I would have smashed it. If it was today.
I mean, I think it's entirely based on if it's 51%, good, or 51% bad. And like Grotesque Guardians has so much bad that it can outweigh that.
Yeah. Yep, makes sense. Okay, but all right, so we got through the 4 bosses today. Let's stop it there because we've got a doozy of an episode coming up next, which is we're going to be talking about not Corrupted Gauntlet. We're going to be talking about the Gauntlet, and also talking about the Crystalline Hunlif. And as much as I would love to tack it on, I feel like we've nope, it's too much. It's gotta wait till next episode. But we really are getting into like this cool area of the game where I think Jagex's best work is starting to really shine through some of these bosses that are coming up. Not so much today. not so much today, but I want to hear what everyone thinks about all the. What are your thoughts on the bosses we talked about? Leave us a note if you're on Spotify, or send it on Discord, or send us an email, or SpeakPipe link, or whatever. Okay, Trey, we're gonna take a break. Anything you want to say before we head over to the Grand Exchange and then head on?
Yeah, I have some breaking news actually. I just got a Hydra task.
No way!
So just to fit in with the theme of the episode here, I actually halfway through the episode I went to go finish off an easy Slayer task and started sending points just to get a Hydra task, and I did. With my very last, I'm at 4 Slayer points, so have to do this task. 188. So this will probably next episode I'll be talking about how much Hydra I've been doing. But yeah, that's my breaking news. Sorry.
Exciting. I like my Slayer points. I get really nervous when I'm down to the wire like you are. I always make sure I got a reserve.
Well, I have that General Grardor boss task as my stored one. So it's like if I run out of points and have one that I absolutely don't want to do, at least I can switch over and finish that one off.
Yeah. And you're going to be getting all your points back next Wednesday, surely, with the
I hope so.
Slayer update.
Right.
Okay. Cool stuff. Good luck on the Hydra task, but we'll be right back. All right. We're going to head on over to the Grand Exchange, where you can talk about where you can support the show if you want to support the show. First, you can go to patreon.com/TheWildernessPodcast. Of course, thank you to all of our Patreon supporters: Yolfi, Ferric, Das Sasquatch, Dackle, Mike C, Luke P, Keeter, Niao P. Thank you guys so much for your ongoing support. And of course, if Patreon's not your thing, you can head on over to our server, discord.gg/wilderness, and you can boost the server instead. So we got a few people doing that. Thank you to Carambon, aka Hannah, Gator Dick, Coda, Mooj, and Myzix. Thank you all for your support there as well. All right, short and sweet. Let's get back into it. We are back. And Trey, I think you got some messages for us.
Yeah, we had a couple new comments since we last went through. We had a big batch last time, but we just have a couple this time. So all the way back on episode 231, John Ford 6275 commented and said first, which is funny because I think there's like 4 views on that video. So congratulations anyway. But first, love the pods. Thank you for listening. Thank you for loving it.
That was do you remember when Jagex was thinking about having like snowflake account representation or something?
Oh, what was that? The official account builds or
something like that. It was like this whole thing where they were like, they added a little bit. Like we have the 1 defense and the level 3 skiller high scores. So like my peer has 1 defense, so I can look him up on that high scores. But so it got a little bit. It ended up failing. But yeah, Jagex wanted to like. I think they saw an opportunity with like restricted accounts, like, settled Swampletics, and we see a bunch of those YouTube accounts. So they thought about like, what if we had actual support for people who want area restrictions, or I have my UIM that's defense only skiller account kind of thing. So it ended up failing. People are saying we don't. This is too much. Like, it's kind of weird. We don't need this, and never really got it. But anyways. A little bit of a look back. What else we got?
Yeah, so much more recently from the All About the Future of Skilling with Sebe, Tristan Martin said, this is probably too old for you guys to still read these. Man, we just read one from like 5 years ago. But I wish Giant's Foundry let you use 5 times the materials to slowly smith one item way above your level. For example, you can waste 20 runite bars, but you'll be able to make something double your level requirement, like your own plate body. It would help bridge the gap of new players wanting to make their own gear while not having to redo the whole skills progression. So that the first half of that, I was like, that's a bad idea. But the explanation for why you would want to do that is actually not the worst thing in the world. The idea of on an Iron Man, actually, I mean, that's like one of the biggest shortcomings of RuneScape is you don't get the feeling of making your own gear that you're using because you have so far surpassed that. The other issue is that you can get from bronze to rune in like, a day. So that's the other reason why, you're not really like making your own armor as you can. But
yeah, like smithing needs a whole rework, I think. Like 99 smithing to make a rune plate body. Like that's insane.
Yeah, but yeah, something that makes it completely like a loss of money and like maybe for like 0 experience or something, there's no reason to do it besides that you could get that gear for yourself. I think it's a cool idea.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll see. I don't know if they would go this specific route, but I'm sure I feel like it's only a matter of time until we get. Well, I was gonna say I think it's only a matter of time until we get a smithing rework, but maybe they don't even touch it because they're afraid of screwing things up. RuneScape 3 did a whole, you need level 40 smithing to make rune gear. And, look what that led to.
I will say I've always wanted to do an episode that is talking about what we would change about the game if we could go back in time, because smithing is one of the biggest things that I think it's too late. I don't think we can change it fundamentally just because of, where we are in the game and how drastically that would change everything about the game.
And no one's really complaining about it. Like why fix it if it's weird, but like then you got to fix mining runite ore. What is that going to need? And what about amethyst?
Well, and all the drop rates because the alkene price would change. And yeah, it's a thread that I don't think we want to pull, but yeah, anyways, if we could go back in time, I think smithing would be extremely different than what we have now.
Yeah. But Tristan offering an alternative, and I think that's what we're getting. We're getting these alternatives, you need a high smithing level to make, some of the demon bane weapons and stuff like there's no way around it. You need a higher smithing level to make it. And it's like, and I
those
think
are just additions. That comment was in, response to me and Sebe kind of going off about how much we hate Giants Foundry. But honestly, that idea, I feel like could just be its own separate thing, have a special furnace, the furnace of the gods or something that lets you, some kind of different way of smithing, just like a one-time thing could be cool.
Yeah.
But no, it's a cool idea. It'll never happen, but it's a cool idea.
Until we get some YouTuber gets stuck and it's like, well, what if we just made this little tweak and everyone's on board for that? But yeah, I do like when we get these niche, when I find out that like, oh, I didn't realize Giants Foundry also did this, but then again, I also hate having to go to Wiki to learn all this stuff. But it is kind of cool. I'm a bit of a contradiction.
She's just a walking contradiction.
I'm a walking contradiction. Sitting right now, I don't, walk anywhere. I got one of those mobility scooters. Go for a little scoot. I'm just joking. I don't have one of those. Okay, great. Guys, thanks so much for your comments and everything. And keep them coming. We love to read them. We'll read through all of them. So feel free, if it's an older episode, we'll still see it. Usually, hopefully. If we don't see it, my bad. But if we do see it, we'll talk about it. And of course, you can send the message anywhere. discord.gg/wilderness, or you can send us an email, TheWildernessPodcast@gmail.com. And you can even leave like a voicemail. We love playing voicemails on the show. So SpeakPipe is where you would do that, but click the link in the description. It'll bring you there and let you record a little ditty. So yeah. Our clan's wild. You guys should come join that.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No.
Okay, let's pick a song of the week. Do you have a favorite song or favorite boss that we talked about this week that we can use their music?
Ooh. I don't listen to much of the music. I'm trying to think of what the Hydra song is.
I know I do listen to the music quite a bit, and I'm forgetting. Let me listen to it real quick. Memory.
Must not be that good.
Oh, I know this song. Okay, yeah. We can do this one. It's a pretty good song, about 6 minutes long. It's called Alchemical Attack. An exclamation mark.
Nice.
Okay, Alchemical Attack is the song of the week. And we'll see you guys next Smash or Pass episode with the gauntlet.
Yeah, spicy one.
Cool. Thanks everyone. Bye.
Bye.